Comics Coffee Metal Podcast, episode 170.
Greetings and welcome to the Comics Coffee Metal Podcast. I'm your host, Don Cardenas. Today I'm joined by the awesomely talented creator, Jimmy GIEGERICH. Jimmy, thank you for coming on.
Hey, how's it
going? Jimmy, we were just talking, I had come across your work for the first time last year. I stopped by your table at C2E2. I'm like, this guy is my kind of guy. He's got awesome art, crazy ass books.
Yeah.
Hates sleeves.
Yeah.
Loves metal.
Yeah.
And all in all, you were just an awesome dude to chat with very briefly. And, thankfully over the course of the almost year since it's been there, I've tried my best to stay in contact with you. And now you're here on the show to talk about your next volume of your book, I Live in Your Walls, which should be out, at the time of this posting for the third volume, or if not, you'll have a link anyway where people can probably pick up the first two and check all that. But you also have a really cool book that I picked up called Fight Frogs, which I just loved it so much. I have to get the second one, and then obviously I need more of your stuff. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, thanks.
So hopefully, definitely a plan for C2E2. But on top of that, you're also a musician.
Mm-hmm. You
DJ, you do all this other cool stuff. You had a really cool EBM project out called Bicep. You had a really cool Christmas song that I really dug.
Yeah.
And I want to get into that. I wanted to get into I Live in Your Walls. I want to get into your process, all that great fun stuff. But the rule is show, sir. I have to ask, Jimmy, Comics Coffee Metal, what have you been digging lately?
Yeah, so we'll go in order. Comics. I'm a big Japanese horror manga fan, and right now there's a lot of good stuff coming out that I've been really digging on a lot. I got a couple of them here to kind of show them off and talk about them. I'm a huge fan of Suehiro Maro. He's a Japanese, I guess, kind of he's classified as Euroguro. It's a little kind of pervy and violent artist, but he's one of my hands down favorite artists. Very much Junji Ito is enormous right now. Suehiro Maro reminds me a lot of his stuff. I think he was working before Junji Ito, but his stuff has been crazy hard to find. I think there's been 3 things of his published in the US in English. I got them all, and then that was it for the longest time. His stuff's coming out again though, and I'm super thrilled about it. This book, Beautiful Monster, I just got for Christmas, and it's incredible. He had a book called Ultra Gash Inferno that was released here in English in I think it was 2003, and it's mega out of print. It's a $200 book. This reprints a bunch of that stuff, which I'm really stoked about. Awesome. Yeah. I also really like Smudge, that new imprint that's putting out a bunch of horror manga stuff as well. I got another book, Mansect was one that they put out. It's all real obscure black and white horror manga stuff. So I'm thrilled that that's also coming out too. It's stuff I've never ever heard of at all.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I love about this show is with comics and with music, I'm always hearing about something that someone just absolutely loves so much, and I'm like, I have never heard of this before in my life. This is amazing. And that's I probably say this too much, but that's one of the big connections between comics and metal that I love so much. Is this that they both share that kind of deep bench of awesome stuff you've never heard of.
Yeah.
And you can ask 100 people their favorite comic or their favorite metal band, and you'll get 100 different answers.
Yeah.
And 75% you never heard of any of them.
Yeah, right. Well, I think it's they're both hobbies and interests, I guess, that really lend themselves to nerding out and digging deeper and looking at the things that the people that you like and finding stuff that's just weird and obscure and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I agree.
And I think more than any other type of music, or at least that people are able to track, that there's just so much crossover between bands and people. Oh, this guy was in this band and this band and this band, and then that guy's first band was with these 2 other guys who were in this other and there's all this weird crossover. I know musicians travel I know musicians like in the background for a lot of like country or like pop acts, or like very swap out a lot and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, very coveted gigs and all that. But for like metal, it's just like, yeah, you could, like your favorite band, like that guy's first band was someone else's favorite band.
Yeah,
and
right.
The other guy from that band has his other band. That's someone else. Like, it's just that kind of cool thing. And that's like how comics are, like, oh man, I love the writer from this book and the artist from this book. And now this artist doing this and this writer's doing this and that colorist is doing this. And I loved all their work. And now it just spreads.
Yeah.
I say it all the time, we all acknowledge comics is a medium. It's not a genre.
Mm-hmm.
And so is metal. Metal's a medium, man. You just can do whatever the fuck you want there.
Yeah.
And as long as you got like the spirit of of metal in there, like it's metal. Like no one's gonna like you can't take something like a more popular choice like baby metal and say like, oh well, that's that's just some J-pop with metal. No, that's metal J-pop.
Yeah. Right.
It's the metal comes first.
Yeah. I agree.
So awesome.
Yeah. Coffee. I'm not a coffee guy.
That's okay.
I don't drink it. I don't know if I've ever drank coffee in my entire life.
Wow.
I think I drank coffee one time when I was like a drunk 16-year-old at like IHOP maybe, because everyone was drinking coffee and I was like, I might as well give it a shot, and I did not like it. I've you know what, my most recent interaction with coffee was I accidentally bought a like a cafe mocha protein shake from my gym. We have a vending machine. Okay. It was in the spot where the chocolate ones are, so I was like, all right, it's chocolate one, and then I pounded it. I got done at the gym. It was like 10 o'clock at night, and I didn't realize that it had like 25 milligrams of caffeine in it. So I was just wired all night long.
Yeah, you definitely don't drink coffee because you said 25 milligrams of caffeine, and I'm like, sir, those are rookie numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was like so wiped out because I think I was working really hard at the gym too. And I was just laying in bed and my bones were rattling, and I was just like, I want to go to sleep.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Yeah. Obviously you're a big dude, and I'm like, I've gotten into lifting in the past few years, so I'm like, I want to talk to you more about that, but we'll keep with the topic for now.
Yeah.
I could easily branch off to a bunch of questions. Let's focus on first things first. So if you're not a coffee fan, what is your drink of choice when you're?
I drink a lot of Coke Zero, Coke Zero, Pepsi Zero. Choice, so. I'm not shy around caffeine, but that's as far as it goes for me. I do drink a lot of it, but yeah, that's my go-to. Especially right now, I'm working on a comic, and I can't not just like pound soda when I'm like drawing. I knew all these like old illustrators like when I was in school and like coming up and stuff, and what they would do is they would be in their studios and they would be smoking cigs like one after the other, just like finish a cig, light up the next one, start smoking it while they're drawing. I'm not a smoker. I don't do that. Diet cola is it's my vice.
Despite what the internet crazies will tell you, like, that's not going to end up putting you into an early grave.
Yeah, right. I think it's preserving me, actually. All the aspartame's keeping my guts.
Unless you're the guy, that actually ingests like 300 times his body weight in Diet Coke. To make it actually harmful. Yeah. I'm a big diet soda fan. I've always been. It's not even like a health thing. I just prefer the taste of it. Right now, just because I've had enough caffeine today, I've got Diet Pepsi caffeine free.
Oh, right on.
And I've been hooked on these since I was a kid because my grandma used to have these, and I used to go steal her sodas, and that was it, man. But I am a big fan of the zeros. I like the cherry zeros or Pepsi Zero, cherry zero. Are you just like a straight cola zero?
Yeah, cola. I have a hierarchy too of what's good and what's not good in my opinion. Okay. Right now I'm really on like Pepsi Zero. I'm really into that. Coke Zero is like a close second. Diet Pepsi's fine. I like Diet Pepsi well enough. Diet Coke, I think, tastes disgusting. It tastes like chemicals.
All love and respect to my friends who are that's their cigarette, that's their fridge cigarette, as they like
Yeah.
to say. And I'll drink it, but like
Yeah.
I will not specifically go get it. I am not a fan of that at
Yeah.
all.
It tastes like
You know,
a motor oil flavored seltzer, in my opinion.
I wouldn't, for me, it's not that, for me that's Dr. Pepper. But anyway,
Yeah.
and even then that's just trauma because growing up I loved root beer. I still love root beer, but like
Yeah.
whenever I would
Yeah.
ask for root beer at places, they're like, we don't have root beer. But we have Dr. Pepper. And I'm like, that's not root beer.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, but like, I like Coke Zero, but like I think Coke Zero did too good of a job copying regular
Hmm.
Coca-Cola, because to me, regular Coca, it's just so heavy,
Yeah, I
like
got you.
in the mouth. It's like I can't, like, for better or worse, I can't just like pound them
Right.
when I'm doing that. And I started as a soda guy. I was the cracking open a Diet Pepsi at 8 a.m. That was my coffee in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I
And
do.
then eventually, my 20s, I finally had a cup of coffee where I'm like, oh wait, I like this. Of course, it was like 80. It was like half sugar at
Yeah.
that
Right.
point. But I've since got that way down. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've developed a taste for it. But so I don't begrudge anybody who's like, I just don't like coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an acquired taste for sure.
Yeah.
I still can't do black coffee. My wife can, my friends can. I'm just like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't. I like I said. I mean, I'm sure mine was loaded with sugar the one time I had it, and
Yeah.
I was still just like, nope,
Well,
not for me.
IHOP coffee too. That's. I think it's. I don't think you can legally call that coffee, but
Yeah,
that's fine.
right.
Well, how about music? How about metal? What's
Yeah,
been making the spins in your
I'm
earbuds
a
lately?
big time death metal guy.
Hmm.
I love death metal. I mean, I like a ton of different genres and stuff. Right now, currently, my favorite death metal band, like who's currently performing and making music, is this band Torture Rack. From I want to say Portland, Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. They are just like old school, just like very straightforward, heavy, kind of a little bit of like punk in there too, like
Okay.
like influence like death metal.
Yeah.
They're great. I love that band. I like a lot of like old school death metal, and what we were just talking about with like kind of going deep and like obscure and weird and like that kind of stuff. That's definitely where my interests lie. Cenotaph from Mexico is one of my all-time favorite bands. They have this their first like full-length album, which came out back in the '90s. The Gloomy Reflections of Our Hidden Sorrows is just like one of my favorite one of my favorite albums of all time. I like Demilich a lot from Finland as
Okay.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like that they're just like super heavy, but also just like weirdo like signatures, and like the timing is just like all over the place. I really dig
Yeah.
that. US, there's Intestine Balism out of Japan is another one of like my favorites as well. They're more kind of like melodic death metal. They kind of do like Swedish mellow death better than like most of those bands. Like In Flames
Hmm.
is like a good, like Old In Flames and like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
good comparison. But I like Intestine Balism like way more
Okay.
than like that stuff.
Again, most of these I've not heard of, so I'm like, okay, I got some stuff to listen
Oh,
to.
right on, hell
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Death metal was always was like one of the last like metal subgenres that I really like started embracing.
gotcha.
Like I would say like within like the past 10 years,
Yeah, yeah.
is when, and it really, it started with little things here and there. Like I would hear some death here and
Hmm.
there, and I'm like, yeah, Chuck Schuldner's Legend
Yeah.
sounds great. And then it wasn't, I think of some obituary would come
Yeah,
up, and I'm
love
like, oh,
Obituary. Yeah,
just the classic stuff, and then
yeah.
a few years ago, from their former band Nervosa, the band Crypta came out,
Uh huh.
and I really love that album,
Uh huh.
their first album, and I think their second album's great as well. And that really kind of like broke the seal, I think, for
Cool.
me
Yeah.
with death metal. So now there's like so much other stuff and now, it's hard for me to even like know to really feel like is this death metal or is this just thrash?
Yeah,
Is
I
this
got
like,
you.
there's like, because was it Creator just came out with a new album, which was just actually unexpectedly just a phenomenal album. But I'm like,
I've got to
that's a
check it out. I haven't checked it out yet.
and I'm like, that's a thrash album. But then I'm like looking up line, and some people are calling them death metal. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm just
right.
I don't know where the line is with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I love all kinds of metal. I love stuff from Nightwish and Amaranth to I would say probably the most like quote unquote disgusting band I listen to is probably Distant.
I don't know if I know them.
They're I think they were labeled under like symphonic deathcore or something.
Oh, okay.
But I heard their first album. I just came across them somehow on Bandcamp, and I'm listening. I'm like, this is like the lows were low, like, and it was just like relentless. And that first album of theirs was just like, wow, like I need to sit down after this because I just need to give my human body a break. What the hell I listen to? And since then they just kind of like refined their sound, their sound, and they've gotten fairly sizable. And they've been adding like solos and stuff like that. And I'm like, it's one of those bands where like they have a lot of production, they have a lot of that kind of stuff, but like just at the core of it, like they just write some just heavy shit,
Yeah, right on. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And
I gravitate more towards heaviness for me. I could kind of it's neither here nor there in my opinion. Like I like some stuff that's just like super duper heavy. I'm a huge like classic heavy metal fan as well. Like I love, like the classics like Motorhead and Judas Priest and like that kind of stuff. But like one of my all time favorite bands is Brokus Helm. They're like real, just like kind of like ass kicking, like fast melodic, sort of just like rock and roll heavy metal by like total nerds. Like I love them. There's this band out of Italy called Dark Quarterer who I'm like a huge fan of. I think they're kind of popular over there. I don't think that they're all that like known over here. But like they're very much like mythology and like melodic, sort of like old school heavy metal, in the vein of like Iron Maiden, but like a little bit more kind of like upbeat and not with like 6-7 minute long songs and like that kind of stuff. Like a little bit more concise, I would say. But yeah, I really just dig like things like kind of fast and immediate. Almost, I grew up listening like way like into like the punk scene and stuff when I was a kid. So that kind of like DIY, like just kind of like we're gonna do something to do it kind of ethic applied to all genres of music. I really dig that a lot.
Yeah, and I think death and even black metal like really is like as like low tech as you get in terms of like the origins of like we're just gonna go and do this. Just fuck it.
Just like weirdos making just like weird like confrontational music is something that I like a lot.
I don't know if you stretch much into like the black metal type stuff because
I love black metal.
It's hard for me sometimes just because of like and I say it kind of as a joke, but also like it's sadly true. Like I have to look up this band before I really get into them because I don't know what they're about. Yeah. But like when I find out it's like legit just a bunch of fucking weirdos who go into the woods in a cabin and record some just gnarly shit, I'm like, yeah, all right, guys, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of those like in the back of my head, like the like a primal thing, like that would be cool to do one day, like just go into the woods for a month by yourself and just make a black metal album and come and emerge. For
Not
before you shoot the videos in the woods too.
Like Call of the Winter Moon by Immortal. Just running around having a good time, you and the boys.
In terms of like old school heavy metal, like there's some stuff I've some newer or more modernish bands that I feel like they don't exactly hit that Maiden, Priest kind of like more upbeat melodic type of stuff, but they have that vibe. And it's one's a band called Haunt.
I like Haunt a lot.
Love them.
Yeah, they're great.
and then another band called Night, Nite.
I think I know them.
I think they're technically considered they call themselves blackened heavy metal, which is
Oh, okay.
basically like old school heavy metal instrumentals with just
Yeah.
raspy gnarly vocals,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
cool.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. That rules.
It works really really well,
Yeah.
and all that. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Are you D&D guy at all?
No, it's not. It's not for want of wanting.
Gotcha.
It's just I just don't have the time, opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Because
sure.
even my wife was like, it seems that would seem like it's interesting, but like we don't really have the local community or we know people in our area to come to get around and do it. And for virtual ones, I think a lot of the people that we would know have much different schedules than us.
Yeah, sure. The reason why I was asking is because there's this band, Gygax, which I mean Gary Gygax being the creator of D&D. It's neither here nor there, I guess. If you like D&D or not, they're still they're newer. I don't know if they put out anything recently, but it's like D&D like metal, but it's very sort of like I'm even kind of loath to call it metal. It's more like kind of in the vein of like Thin Lizzy kind of rock and roll.
Oh, okay.
Thin Lizzy fan. But I would check them out if you're into like Haunt in particular. They have some like similarities there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I may not play D&D, but I've like with like professional wrestling or even sports, like I pick up the peripherals of it from everybody else I know.
Yeah,
so
yeah, totally.
Literally bought my daughter Dungeons and Dragons Where's Waldo West type book.
Yeah.
Because we saw it in Target, and she's just like, "Ooh, what's this?" And
that's
like,
awesome.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. I like D&D a bunch. I haven't played in a million years. I used to play fairly regularly with some friends, but then they moved away and everything. The way that I look at it is I've got like literally a million things going on. I don't know if I can afford extra time to that on top of all the other things that I'm just like thinking about all the time.
I mean, yeah, it's like I totally agree. I mean, because it's like make comics, make music, and then for me, it's like I'm also like a DIY type person, so I'm like always like got plans around the house of things I got to do and fix. I got 2 kids, I got other responsibilities and all that, and on top of wanting to even like keep up reading stuff and entertaining stuff, and actually spending time with my wife,
right,
quality time.
There's too many fun things out there.
Yeah, and it's like when other things come up, I'm like, oh man, I would love to do that. Like, when it comes up a lot is records. Like, I would love to have a record collection.
Yeah.
I love the ritual of it, the idea of it. Just grab a record, put it on, move on with your day. But I'm like, I know what would happen to me if I started.
And I
afford that.
I was a huge
same thing with 3D printing.
I was a huge like record collector all throughout, like from me being a teenager. Like I started off buying like crust punk records and like anarcho punk records and that kind of stuff when I was probably like, I don't know, 13 years old, 14 maybe, something like that. Eventually though, I had so many records and I wasn't really using them. I sold about like half of my collection. And I still have the other half, and I really haven't been listening to them, but it's like cool shit that I don't want to get rid of. And I'm just sort of like I would be bummed if on a day where I was feeling down in the dumps, I couldn't walk down and then pull out a first press Persecution Mania by Sodom vinyl and just go like, hell yeah, dude, I have this. I got like first press like Scream Bloody Gore. I just like every once in a while I'll take it out and just be like, yeah.
no, I totally get that. There's I have lots of comics like that. Like I don't have a huge collection from when I was younger, just because I had a real brief window when I was younger where I was big into buying them, and then I kind of stopped. So it was only like a few years. It wasn't like a whole life, and then I picked it back up again in my adulthood. But all the ones from my childhood, it's like I can't, like there's no reason, like there's other ways I can own all of X-Men 2099.
You sure? Yeah.
But if I can't go and pick up my copy of X-29, the book that I just, I absolutely love that book. And I was just like, if I can't go look at that book and know I have that book, it's just like, it's not the same, man.
Yeah.
Same thing with like a bunch of, other stuff. So yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
There's too many awesome things to do.
Yeah.
I literally, at the end of last year, I was like, just like thinking about all the shit I've involved myself with. And I'm like, what do I really want to do? What I really want to spend my time on? And I'm like, well, if I wanted to, do this other hobby, I'm like, well, then I think I had to give up the podcast.
Yeah, you got to trade something.
Like, do I want to do that? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I love talking to people. I love trying to help people get their word out on their stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't be happy with that. So it's just like, man, time really is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hopefully, for me personally, one of my main focus, on top of just making sure, keep doing my books, is putting all these things to use behind me.
Yeah, right.
And not feeling like a piece of crap because I have all these damn things and I'm not putting out anything.
Yeah, I got
I have
you. Yeah.
so much. And I'm going to take that as a very lazy segue into your project, Bicep.
Yeah,
but you're also a DJ, so you're very music minded and all that. But
yeah,
in terms of this particular project, how did that come about? What was the impetus for doing this?
So it's me and my buddy Kurt, who he's been in a million bands. His current like project that he has, Crime Slugs, is this like kind of like lo-fi punk kind of like garagey sort of thing. If you've ever been to Baltimore, Maryland before, and you've wandered around the streets, you've seen his stickers around because he puts stickers up everywhere. There are these like they're angry eye stickers. They're like two separate stickers. If you ever go to a punk bar or like a restaurant that's like a little bit more sort of like, I don't know, like punk or like something like that hangout, and you lift up a toilet seat, you will see those eyes underneath the toilet seat because he puts them everywhere. So me and him, we've been buddies for a while now, and we got to talking maybe a year-ish ago, maybe a little bit more than that, about potentially like starting something, because he had me come over. I recorded like backup vocals, like guest vocals on this song that he wrote called "You Are Already Dead," which is like Fist of the North Star reference. Because we're both like huge like old anime nerds as well. Fist of the North Star in particular, like we talk about that a lot. And so like I did that, and then we went out and we were like hanging out afterwards, and I was saying I've had this idea to make a band, Bicep, for like probably actually to be real, during the pandemic, I think was when I was like considering just like maybe starting something like this. And so we got to talking, and we've kind of been just like doing our own thing for like a little while, but we've kind of been ramping up and like bouncing ideas off of each other and stuff. And then we came out with that Atlas of the North Pole song. We released it on Christmas. And it's funny, the story behind that is, like I said, we've been, just kind of talking about like, wanting to start something. I was DJing a friend's goth night called Protoplasm here in Baltimore. And it was the Christmas edition, and I dressed up as Santa Claus with like no sleeves on. And I took a picture of myself in the bathroom, and I looked like a giant muscle freak. Like, it's crazy. It's the coolest picture of me ever. I posted that, and then he saw that picture, and he was like, we need to write a song about being like, Santa Claus and strong, basically. And we got it done. It was a matter of days. Like he kind of like took the idea and ran with it. Kurt's great. He's like, I'm somebody who I have creative ideas going constantly. I feel like I'm always thinking of something new to do, new comic, new illustration or new print, new whatever. And he's the same exact way. Like he's very much like he's just like a creative sort of like fountain. And so it's been really nice, the two of us like working together. We just wrapped up our like second song. We're working on an EP right now. And it's dropping tomorrow. I know that this is coming out a little bit later, so by the time this comes out, the song should be out. We got a new song called Broken Face coming out, which is about the time that I was bench pressing 225 pounds. I dropped the bar right on my mouth.
Oh my God. Oh,
Yeah.
geez Louise. That's oof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm recoiling right now.
Yeah, it was embarrassing, and I got a bunch of stitches, but we got a cool song out of it, so it's it's cool.
Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, and I always love it when comic creators are also musicians. It's it's such an overlap of creativity that it's just, even if it's someone who's just playing an instrument for fun of it, just just knows how to do these things.
Yeah,
and it's just one of those things where I'm like, I just because it's a part of me as well. Like I just feel like, yes, you guys get it too. Like it's just like it's like two different parts of your brain are working when you're doing it.
Well, I've been having a ton of fun, like designing like the aesthetic and stuff for it too. Like I it's very like our aesthetics so far. I mean, me and Kurt, we're both artists too. Like Kurt does tons of flyers and stuff here in Baltimore. I've done, like, I would say probably most or all of our art up to this point. It's very different than what I do normally, because it's a little bit more sort of like, I don't even know if I mentioned the music. So it's like EBM, which is like kind of like an offshoot or sort of like cousin of like industrial music. So I've been doing more of that type of design stuff that's a little bit more kind of like stark black and white. Like, I've been half toning like old pictures from like bodybuilding magazines and stuff, and like using that for like our aesthetic and everything. And I it's just been a ton of fun to like design that stuff. And I actually hadn't done music in a million years. I mostly sing in bands. I've played guitar in like maybe a couple of bands or something. But my last band was this band called Shit the Bed. We were a grindcore band here in Baltimore.
That
we
tracks.
played 10 shows, and I think we canceled twice as many. But I haven't played it. Like, that was college for me, which was, for a million years ago. So it's been really nice to get back into it too.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, whenever I hear like a grindcore band, it's always the most interesting names.
Yeah.
Or song titles.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you play some guitar. I see a keyboard in the background in your video there. So when you guys, obviously this project's still newish. You guys haven't done a ton of stuff with it, but like the workflow, how does that go? Like, is it are you just like trading like parts off, or is it someone goes ahead and like, here's because since it's very electronic, I imagine there's a lot of synths and like sounds and stuff, like, well, here's what I got, what do you think? Like, was there a lot of back and forth tweaking, or was it just
so like I barely know how to play keyboard or synth or anything. Like I've been just mostly kind of screwing around with it. Kurt, like I said, though, he's been in a million bands. Like, he's been in like bands since that I've known of since I first moved to Baltimore when I was like 17 ish, I think. And we've known each other for a little while now. But like, he's just been in all kinds of bands too, like a lot of like punk bands and like rock and roll and like that kind of stuff. So this is a bit of a departure, I would say, for him from just his normal like music style. Crime Slugs has like some synth in it. It's a little bit more kind of like experimental and like weird. But like I was kind of bringing the idea of like this to him, and I think he was excited by the idea of like trying out something that he's never really tried out before. So he's doing a lot of like the like kind of writing and assembling of like the music and stuff. We're both kind of splitting up like writing lyrics and stuff. And for we got the songs coming up, it's been some like trading of parts, or like the new song that we have, I sampled a bunch of like gym sounds, so like re-racking bars and putting plates on and like that kind of stuff. So I did that and then sent them to him, and so we've been having a lot of fun just kind of bouncing ideas off of each other.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, it's majority of the music stuff I've worked on is solo-ish, but it's always nice when you have like a creative partner in in that, because it does mirror comics again in a great way, where it's like you're filling the gaps for each other on
Mm-hmm.
things in the best case scenario.
Yeah.
I've had a few things like that. Like there's a fantastic comic artist, illustrator, Kevin Mellon, great
Mm-hmm.
musician, and he and I started collaborating on some stuff. We had one, like I guested on a couple things for him, and we made our own project. We put out a song that I really, really, really dug, and then we both got like hammered by life and haven't gotten
Mm-hmm.
back to it yet. I was
Yeah.
actually texting him today. I'm like, "Hey, do you think we could?" And he's like, "Life, dude." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, me too."
Yeah.
I was just wistfully thinking of that, that fucking jam we made. And I'm like, "Damn it, we would
Yeah.
like to." But no, it's great to have that back and forth with everything and all that.
Yeah.
You know.
We're also, I think, too, what's like good is that we're very much like, let's make it and get it out there, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to like, let's sit here and like sit on it and tweak
Mm-hmm.
it and like that kind of stuff. Like I said, that Atlas of the North Pole song kind of came together pretty quick. I mean, we talked about it, I think it was like a week before we were finished with it, because we were just scrambling to get it out by Christmas as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was working at like selling my comics at a holiday market at a screen printer in town. They do like a monthly market there, or not monthly, but like like a kind of punk rock flea market thing. And he came up and he was like, "I've got ideas for this. Like, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to send you some like roughs of it and everything like that." And then I think he sent me roughs in like 2 days or something like that. And then I went over, recorded the vocals. We kind of tweaked some things, and then it was out and done.
Yeah.
And so this more recent song that we just finished up was a little bit more kind of like tweaking, and we were being a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more, I don't want to say precious with it, but just trying to like figure things out a little bit more, because it's different than the Christmas song.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing some things where like the percussion parts of the percussion are just samples, like it's like
Yeah.
sounds of like weights dropping and like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And so like getting the timing down with those things, or making sure that they work together. There was a moment where he sent me a version of it, and he himself was like, "There's way too much stuff going on in this song," because we just put like everything in the kitchen sink in it.
Yeah.
And we pared it down a little bit, so it's a little bit more kind of
Mm-hmm.
like straightforward and stuff. So yeah, but I mean, just getting it out there, like that's like my kind of ethos when it comes to a lot of creative things. I like to get it out there, put it out there, and then not forget about it, but like not sweat it. Just
Mm-hmm.
nothing. There's going to be rough edges on anything that anybody makes, and I know some people get kind of like caught up on like wanting to smooth out everything with their work, and that's just not my style. Like I'm very much like, I like the rough stuff.
Yeah. I'm definitely the type of person where I'm trying to find where that line is for myself, and
Mm-hmm.
where that works best, because I feel like in the past I've definitely put stuff out in various forms that I'm like, no, I should have worked this a bit more. I
Yeah.
should have did this. But then again, I'm very much a person who learns by doing. I
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
like
Same.
I don't learn by practice. I learn by doing, and my doing is my practice. And unfortunately, that just means that I'm just failing publicly for where I won't actually pays attention to it.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, but that's just how I do it. Like, so I was learning mixing, I was learning
Yeah.
record, I was learning things. I was never a singer or a screamer or whatever, but I'm like, eventually, a few years ago, I'm like, well, I don't know anyone else I can ask to do this. I'm just gonna fucking try it. And
Yeah.
next thing you know, I'm tearing out my throat in my car, screaming into my, my
Yeah.
microphone. It's the most isolated place I can find at the time.
Right.
And here we go. Well, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. And
Yeah.
again, I really dug the first song, the Atlas of the North Star song. That one was great.
Thank
And
you.
it like I said before we started recording, it not that I needed another music project to add onto my to-do list for the year, but it unearthed the grave of something that I was kind of putting together before myself. Not EBM type stuff. This is more
Yeah.
industrial metal type stuff, kind of
Cool.
like I would say more like instrumental static XC Ministry
Cool.
type stuff. than anything. But I'm like, but like I was also really jazzed about it because I'm like, oh wow, I just love it when like someone does something and I'm like, wow, that just sparked something with me.
That
Like
rules.
I got to go do something. I got to do this because
Yeah.
now I threw that on top of my death metal project and my my helping my buddy with resurrecting a regular more power metal project, and then my standard groove metal project and the stuff I'm bothering Kevin about.
Yeah. Right.
On top of comics and podcasts and all that other fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. But I think if I get it far enough, I'll have to tag you guys in.
Yeah.
On a remix or something.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
So I really want to talk about your comics and your art and all that kind of stuff, but I don't get a lot of opportunities to talk to other creatives about lifting weights.
Oh yeah, right on. Yeah,
it's not something that comes up a lot.
Yeah, sure.
I am not here to say that, oh, I am some big weightlift fanatic dude, but I've been doing it fairly, I've been doing it, I think pretty seriously for the most part for the past couple of years.
Right on. Yeah.
So like I've learned, all that stuff. So I'm intensely curious about like other ways, because like with like comics and anything else creative, like the fitness, I don't want to say community, like the fitness online things. It is like so Marvel versus DC, science versus bros.
Yeah, right.
Like it is, and then everyone's just too far on one side with a lot of stuff, and other people are just too insane. It's just like it's nuts. Because lifting weights was something I always tried to do, because I wrestled in high school, so we were always pushing us to lift weights, and I was always a heavier kid, so I'm like, my focus always became like I have to be small as possible. So lifting weights was never. And then I was one of the guys that fell into the trap of like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And it wasn't until like the most recent years, because I was a big runner for many years, where I was having like some, I don't know, some breathing bronchial stuff for like the whole winter, and it was just hard to like get my lungs up to do any serious running. So I said, I don't want to stop exercising, so I'm just going to lean into some resistance training. And I actually started looking into it, and I'm like, oh wait. Then I found things like, oh wait, if that hurts me, I don't have to do it.
Yeah, right.
If this hurts my shoulder, I don't have to do that particular exercise. I can
do this other one
that feels much better.
Yeah.
So I don't know what if you're a super strict trainer guy, or training person, or if you're like what your kind of like methodology is.
Yeah.
From my eyes looking at you, I'm like, I won't be surprised if you're like, oh, I'm a powerlifting dude. I'm like, you look like a powerlifting guy to me.
Yeah.
You have that frame where it's like, this guy will like pick up a car if he has to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I used to do powerlifting. I never competed or anything like that. I don't know. I don't know if I should have, or like anything. When I was younger, I used to put up like crazy numbers, but I'm also just dense, and so like the numbers I was putting up for my like weight class, there were people in that weight class who are 5 feet tall, who have much less range of motion that they need to like pull off, who are just putting up like 1,000-pound deadlifts and shit, which I can never do that. And so I got like really into it maybe I want to say like 6-7 years ago, something like that. It was pre-pandemic, and then because I remember just losing my mind during the pandemic, like not being able to go to the gym and having all of a sudden just do 1 million push-ups in my house and stuff, which I hate doing push-ups, But I was doing just sort of like the big kind of like the big sort of like core compound movements. I started with like 5x5, which was squatting. It was like an A day and a B day. You go to the gym 3 days a week. Every day you squat. And then the A day, I can't remember exactly, but it would be like squat, bench press, and like, bent over rows or something like that. And then
Mm-hmm.
B day would be squat, overhead press, and deadlift or something. And you do 5 sets of 5 reps. You'd add 2.5 pounds to either side, so 5 pounds to the bar.
Yeah.
Every time you attempted it until you reached failure, basically. Then you scale down on the weight a little bit, and then you like try again and all that. And that led into me doing 5-3-1. This guy Jim Wendler, he was the guy that came up with that. And that was just like way more crazy, I would say. I was like massive when I was doing that, because it's 5 reps at like, I don't know, like 80%, 3 reps at like 90% or 85 or something like that, and then one big rep. They're supposed to be 1 rep, but it's like a 1 rep max equivalent. So you're just like squatting endlessly, like 13 reps at like 405 pounds or something like that for one set, which was just such a grind, and like it was rough. I got out of that though. I don't really do that too much. I just kind of stick to a 5x5, but I split it up where I do like chest day. Today was back day. I take a day off, and then I do squats, so like a leg day, and then I do like a shoulder day with like overhead press and stuff. So nice. And I'm not strict about it. I am not. I don't really count calories or anything like that. So I mean, that's not great, because sometimes I'm like, I'm doing fine, and then my pants don't fit me anymore, or my all of a sudden my XLs, which were baggy on me, aren't so baggy anymore. But yeah, I try to be as consistent about it as possible. But I'm not like real, like, I don't know, strictly adherent to like if I miss a week or if I miss a day, because I had to miss a week this past week with the snow and everything. I don't get too bent out of shape about it or anything like that these days. Well, I'm also getting older and getting hurt a lot more, so that is something to do with it.
I don't know how old you are, but yeah, like I'm 43, so I'm like, I have a bad lower back. I got injured in high school, so like stuff like squats and like deadlifts, they are almost non-starters for me, just because there's no way I can do them without hurting myself in any like serious capacity. Now, having been the chubby kid all my life, in genetics, I've been gifted with the tree trunks. So whenever I get asked like, oh, what do you do for legs? I don't.
Yeah, right.
I get squinted at and sworn at.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, well, but to my credit, I did spend a solid decade running half marathons and shit like that. So I did something for legs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I wish the rest of my body responded as well to exercise as my legs do.
Yeah.
Because I could just walk on the treadmill for like 20 minutes, and I look down, my calves are all fucking veined out, and like, and I'm just like, but no, yeah, because the powerlifting stuff is insane. I have like immense respect for powerlifting, because that's some crazy ass. But it's also like like the diet you have to eat, because you're getting big, and seeing like the current slate of like the best powerlifters in the world, and like these are literal giants in the world. It's insane. So getting back into it, I'm like I'm not trying to be strong, I'm just trying to not get hurt. So and it's hearing your breakdown is because I recently just switched to a less volume type training at the beginning of the year, because I was doing for most part of last year higher volume training.
Sure. Yeah.
Going a little bit lighter, but also like everything's a failure, every set's a failure, but like the average was like 12 to 18 reps.
Yeah, right.
Just and I think it worked out well for me, but I'm like, it's good to change it up here. And now I'm kind of doing this. I just kind of like do like a warm-up set, and then I do the heaviest set to failure, and then I'll do a second all-out set, either at the same to failure or a little bit lighter. I'm a real big fan of drop sets, and I love cables and stuff because they feel good to me when I'm doing it. I know people are like, I know there's like staunch people who are like, cables aren't aren't real lifting, and other people are like,
Yeah.
I have a Planet Fitness by me, man. I don't really have a lot of options.
Yeah.
Luckily, this Planet Fitness is fairly decent. They just got a hack squat, so I might be trying those.
Oh, tight. Yeah.
That seems less rough on me. I wish they had. They just have Smith machines, so I don't really do a lot of benching on there because I don't like the angle I get on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I'm just like, I don't get a chance to talk to people about this stuff. It's just like, so I'm just curious and all that stuff. So
I love talking about this stuff. Like, honestly, yeah.
I stick to 3 days. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I stick to 3 days a week. Monday.
Yeah.
Today was a day. I do try to switch it up in terms of like, like today I did mostly dumbbell work and stuff like that, and then Fridays. On Fridays, I'm usually a bit more cached. So I usually go a little bit, I kind of like retreat a little bit back to the higher volume, lower weight thing just to kind of make sure. But, I also make sure I end the week just kicking my ass as much as possible because I have 2 days to rest in between.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Yeah, there's no set way to do any.
I know that's the funny thing is like there is no set way,
and I feel like that either is for some people you're like, oh great, I can kind of do whatever and I'll see results so long as I'm consistent. For some people though, I think that scares the shit out of them, and they're like, well, I don't even know where to begin then.
Am I doing the right thing then?
Yeah, right.
I think it's really funny because for me, like I'd first I watched some videos from a couple of the not like the weirdo science-based people, but like the more popular, like Jeff Nippert or something, like if someone's familiar with those guys.
Yeah.
And they're explaining things. I'm like, oh, this makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay. And basically, the thing that really like opened my eyes a lot was just like when one of them was like, yeah, if it hurts, don't do it.
Yeah. Right.
like, okay, muscle work pain, that's a different pain. But if it's like my joint hurts,
or like tendons or anything,
do it that way. Change it up. Do this. Do this. And that just is what opened my eyes so much to it. And it's just really funny because over the course of the past couple of years, I've been following these guys and seeing trends come up and go. It's just funny how everyone just kind of cycles around, and you realize like, yeah, there's really no wrong way to do it. You just gotta do whatever you can do that's comfortable and you can do consistently.
Yeah,
that's the big thing.
And keep it simple too. I mean,
I've
done a ton of different like programs and stuff. Like the ones that I mentioned are sort of the main ones that I've stuck with the most. The one I'm doing now is just I kind of just developed it on my own after all the stuff that I learned. But it's like 5 sets of 5 on whatever lift I'm doing for. Like bench, I don't deadlift anymore because similar reasons, my back hurts. But like bench, squat, and then overhead press. Those are like the ones that I do 5 sets of 5. I go as heavy as I possibly can with those, just because that's more my goal. Like I'm going for strength. I want to be like big and strong. And then after that, though, I just sort of do some like in the same vein of what I've been doing, just some assistance exercises. So I'll do like bench press, get that out of the way. That takes up a long time in my like workout. And then I'll quickly hit like skull crushers for triceps, underhand cable, flies for upper pecs, and then cable pushdowns or something like that. And that's worked, but some of these programs that I've done, they bust out the most obscure shit that you've ever heard of. This lift that like some dude created in like Bulgaria in like 1915. That most people who do it, it makes you slip a disc in your spine. But if you're one of the people that doesn't happen to, your back explodes and you get huge. Right? It's just like, okay, I'm not doing that, man. I'll do bent over rows.
Yeah. The one exercise that I saw that I had a visceral nope was good mornings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would try to explain it to people here. It's not that difficult. Just Google good morning, weight training or whatever, it's like that I'm like, no, that'll flatten me out. Like I won't be able to like sit or walk or move. Like with my back issue, like that's like my lower vertebrae are like askew or whatever. So it's like, yeah, that's a non-starter, baby.
Right.
No.
Yeah, I don't touch those, man. I think I tried those like once and I was like, I'm not doing this. I want to walk straight. I don't want to be walking around like a cowboy.
I've become a real big fan of drop sets. Which, you know, usually do with cables. To explain that real quick to anybody, it's like basically if you're on a cable machine, you have the little pins. Basically, you do the heaviest you go as many reps as you can go, and then you drop it down about 20 or 30%. Keep going down as many drops as you want.
Yeah.
And I recently got, I guess, I came across these randomly, and I got them, and they've been just amazing. There's these little pins, extra pins you can put in.
Oh, cool.
To the cable machines.
Yeah.
So you'll set the main machine pin at the lowest weight, and then you set your higher weights. So then when you just pop it back, it just pops the pin out and you go back up. You don't have to stop, turn around, move it.
Right. Yeah. That's great.
And oh man, I've been just destroying my the overhead triceps. With those. Oh man, because you know I'm gonna mention weights I'm doing. I don't know if they're terrible, mid, whatever. I don't care. I'm just mentioning it because I'm talking to you about it.
Sure.
It's like I've been maxing out the machine, so I put the extra little bar weights on top or whatever the cable. I don't know. So it's like 120, and it's just like I'm getting those out, and I'm just like, and I'm just thinking to myself how like 2 years ago when I first started doing that same exercise at half that weight, I couldn't even get like 5 reps. You know, and it's just like, oh wow, I guess I am doing something.
Right.
I'm getting stronger.
It's so nice to look back on that kind of stuff. I was even just thinking about this recently. When I first got into this, I was like, you know, kind of muscular, but also just kind of skinny. Like I was just like, I'm also somebody who I was overweight when I was a kid, and then my weight's kind of like fluctuated and that kind of stuff. And, you know, I always thought that I was like maybe a little bit heavy, but I looked back at pictures of me from, you know, maybe 10 years ago and I'm just like scrawny kind of. But I went into it and I was starting just by squatting the bar and benching the bar and stuff. And I remember thinking back then when I first started, man, that would be so cool if I could squat like 300 pounds. That would be amazing. And like now, like not to toot my own horn, but like 3 plates is what I squat for my 3rd set of warm-ups, like beltless and all that. Nice. And then I go into like, you know, just stupid weight, you know, for my 5 sets of 5. So it's just great to look back at that kind of stuff and be like, wow. I mean, I equate it, I think it's like art, you know, the way that you kind of look back at the comics that you drew previously and you're like, boy, oh boy, what was I doing then? You know, looking at a video of me like lifting weight with terrible form from like 7 years ago or something like that, you know? It's the same kind of feeling and that kind of like growth as you get better. I look back at, you know, I'm working on I Live in Your Walls 3 right now. I look back at the first one, which I did about a year ago, a year and a half, something like that. And I'm kind of like, I've grown so much and I'm so much better at drawing now than I was then. It's the same way I feel about like weightlifting, like looking back at numbers that you're putting up that you're proud of, and then seeing the numbers that you're doing now. Is that's a nice feeling. I like to take moments to look at, you know, growth like that.
Nice. A last fitness question so people can stop, you know, zoning out on this podcast if you're not interested. Do you use like any apps or anything to track yourself with, or you just kind of keep pencil paper or a spreadsheet at home? Or
no, none of it. I just memorize what weight I'm at. A lot of times I get stuck at like certain weights, so I'll like, you know, just know that I got to go back and do this much or like something like that. But I don't really like track it too much. I'm like very kind of, you know, I'm just doing my thing when it comes to like weightlifting. And I know that that's like, you wouldn't necessarily expect that from me just because I'm big and I put up a lot of weight and stuff, but like it's just I don't know. It's just I kind of like go with my intuition, go with the flow,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just worked for me. Whereas I used to be very regimented about that stuff. Actually, those 5x5 and 531, they do have apps where you can put in the number of like your 1 rep max, and then it'll tell you what you should be lifting, and you can follow that and everything.
Yeah.
But these days I don't really bother with that kind of stuff.
Well, considering you just said like you were very rigid about it in years past,
yeah,
it makes sense because you're like, okay, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You have what you flow with, because for the longest time, like I was just going and trying, and then I like made my own spreadsheet that I was updating because I didn't want to pay for an app.
Sure.
And I finally found an app that the free version of the app did exactly what I needed it to do, was just like this workout, this many reps.
Yeah.
And I keep track of it, not for any real reason other just to like, because I go at like I wake up like at 4 a.m. and like I have to go before everybody's awake, and so it's really for me to like remember, what did I do?
Okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I did this. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing. I'm like, because you mentioned about having that mocha and that protein shake, like whatever milligrams it was, and I'm like,
yeah,
the pre-workout I drink's like 400 milligrams of caffeine, and I'm still like, I'm still like halfway through my workout. Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to do pre-workout too, and then like I had to stop just because it like going to the gym, like my drive. Well, this is maybe part of it. I drink it when I leave my house. It'd be like a 10-ish minute drive to like my gym. By the time I was like, halfway there, I was just like wired and driving crazy, and I felt like I could feel my blood in my body. I was just like, I gotta cut this out.
Granted, the one I use, I used what one I use. I used the Bum Essentials, so it's not like an extreme one, like these with crazy names like
I don't
Godzilla and like
where it looks like a firework that you buy from like a tent.
yeah. So, and I only even started doing the pre-workouts because there's I was reading that caffeine could help, with your workout if you drink it or whatever. So I would have like, I would just force myself to drink a cup of cold black coffee in the morning. And I'm like, well, the caffeine does, it does, kind of wake me up a little bit. And going. I felt like I had better workouts. Like, okay, let me try this other stuff. But like, I've never had that experience that people like always like make reels or videos and shit about like, oh my God, they're all like, I'm like, man. Like at most I'll just in between sets, I'll just be like, fidgeting a whole bunch, jamming to a song. But I kind of do that anyway because neurodiversity. So it's like, it's not really.
How many are you doing, a scoop or two?
I do 2 because this one's it's 200 milligrams per scoop, and so I do 2. And then I mix in my creatine with that in the morning. And I just kind of like chug that as soon as I wake up, because I don't feel anything from it for at least 45 minutes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So like I wake up, I do that, and then by the time I get myself together in the morning, let the dog out, drive to the gym and all that, and start my workout, by the time I'm warming up for my first set, I could usually at least know like, okay, I got something pumping through me right now.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but and it's only been like just over a year since I've actually been trying to like, pay attention to protein, how much protein you're taking in, and things like that. And as someone who like appreciates the ease of how much there is of protein stuff out there to like kind of hit a number you're trying to reach. I'm also fucking sick of everything being marketed with protein already. I don't need protein in this thing. I just want this thing, it's like, you don't need to tell me this. But I'm not great with super great with the diet. I have my ups and downs. I still got my dad belly. It's fine. I don't care.
That's the way to do it. I mean, unless you're doing it for like other reasons, you know, like if you're
I'm not.
trying
I'm
to
not trying to be.
compete,
I'm not
then
trying to be shredded, you know, or
yeah,
the new term they call peeled or whatever bullshit, you know, whatever
yeah, whatever.
unhealthy thing. In 10 years, we're gonna find out people are dying because they like, you know,
Yeah,
it's insane. It's insane.
yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's something I always said is like, you know, she don't mind the belly as long as the rest ain't jelly, right? So,
Yeah, sure.
yeah. If anything, I think it's preferred. There's
Yeah,
a little bit of a belly there. It's like, hey, yeah, I'll get down on some pizza too, babe. Let's go.
yeah.
But no, yeah, it's tough because I did invest in one of those like macro tracker apps or whatever, just because I was
Yeah,
curious.
yeah,
And then I'm like, what am I? I'm like, I'm not trying to be one of these guys. And I know like in less than a decade, I'm probably going to want to slim down in general, just
yeah,
for general longevity. I'm really just trying to like lift and build muscle just because I know as I get older, it's going to go away.
yeah. Right.
And I want to like kind of safeguard myself a little bit, especially since I know that my back is shit. So I'm like, well, I
Yeah,
need to make
yeah,
sure everything else is, you know,
yeah.
if
I
if,
mostly
if
just
I
live
don't,
so that I walk into a punk show and everyone goes like, who the fuck is that?
I mean, okay, you know, like again, I don't think I am some jacked dude or anything like that.
Yeah.
But like the amount of comments I get just
Hmm.
randomly, like I'm like, I don't see it. I don't know if that's body dysmorphia or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Um,
I
you know,
sympathize
but
with
it's
that for sure.
like I actually had I spent like all day last Friday in the hospital because I had a stomach ache so bad my back was hurting, and then you know, like that could be my heart. I don't know.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, so and I had to go get my blood pressure taken like 2 or 3 times, and every time it was a different person, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta get the big cuff for you." And
Yeah,
it's just
that's
like,
what I get all the time, dude.
yeah, and it's like, cool, my tummy hurts, you know.
Yeah, right.
Or
Yeah.
like, or I'll just be be standing at someone's like, "Oh, a gun show," and I'm like, "What?" And I'm just like, "Okay," you know. And then you know, my wife will tell me, you know, "Yeah, you're getting jacked, dude." Like, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't see it, I don't feel it, so much. Like, I mean, I can feel it because when I put on a shirt, I
Yeah,
know.
right.
Like this shirt, it's a good reason my belly is cropped out because you know this is very what's that term they can use now, schmedium on
Oh,
me right
sure.
now.
Yeah, I got you.
But you know, yeah, so it's that. But yeah, that is a factor too. You know, I don't mind being the dad coming to
Oh,
pick
yeah.
up the kids, you know.
That's a
And
good feeling. I
because
mean, my
yeah.
my DJ name is DJ Flexecutioner. So,
Yeah, it's an amazing name. It's an amazing name.
yeah. So, like,
Yeah.
there was one time where my buddy Don, who is usually the bartender on the nights that I DJ, he was there, and I show all kinds of crazy shit. I'm a big like VHS tape collector, and so at my
Mm-hmm.
night, which is called Scum Dungeon, here in Baltimore, I purposefully grab just like any subversive, like weird shit. I've got a lot of like nude aerobics tapes and all that kind of stuff. So I'll show like weird kind of like pervy like smutty stuff, like shot on video horror movies that I have, violent anime, like all that kind of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
the guy was watching the thing at the bar. I think I was showing some like bodybuilder stuff too. I got a lot of like videos of that. And then the guy I switched over though. The guy who was like watching it was this older guy, and I had just been showing like nude birthday party, whatever that is, on tape. And then I switched to, like Mike Menser, like, his workout video. And he was just, the dude was like, what the hell, man? Like, why is, why do you change, where the ladies at or something like that. And then my buddy Don was like, well, he's like a big guy. And then the dude was like, I've seen him before. He's not all that big. And then Don pointed at me and he was like, you're talking about that guy, right? The guy turned around and was like, oh shit, yeah, that guy's real big. So it's all worth it to lift weights so I get that reaction, or when I grab all of my bottles of diet soda all in one big bag with one hand, the lady at the checkout counter tells me I'm big.
The one trip grocery from car to home.
Yeah,
That does make it worth it. That does make it worth it, doesn't it? piling on 4 cases of soda on one bag of groceries and still
right.
that does make it worth it. That's the little things.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I'm gonna move on to comics. Last comment, though, I will say is regards to Bicep as well. I hope at some point you guys have a song where you can sample Ronnie Coleman's "Lightweight Baby."
Oh, that's definitely on the list. We've got oh man, I always forget his name. He's one of like the big guys. Hold on, I could probably just pull it up really quick.
The newer guys or older guys?
Old. He was like a contemporary of Arnold. Oh, hold on. I have it right here because I've sent the sample that I want to use to my buddy, and we're gonna put it in there probably as like the last sample at the end of this album. Tom Platz. He's talking about going to failure on like squats and stuff, and he's got this amazing thing at the end of like this dude. He's this big guy who's made squat like 25 reps with. It's not a lot of weight. It's like 135 pounds on his back. And then he like basically drops the bar and falls down, and he's like dying on the ground. And Tom Platz is like, "Congratulations, you reached failure." And like we are 100% sampling that, dude.
Amazing. Yeah. Perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh God, you gotta love those old school guys, man.
Yeah. We want to sample that stuff. Like I said, we're both like old like 80s anime like nerds. Like I'm always on the lookout because I watch that shit all the time. I'm always on the lookout for people saying like dubbed versions of songs or dubbed versions of the anime where somebody's like, "You're so strong," or like that guy's incredibly strong, or like something like that, so that we can like sample that as well. So we're gonna go hard with the samples for sure.
Amazing. I can't wait. I cannot wait to ingest some more Bicep in the ear holes.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. So finally, over an hour in, let's talk about your comics and your art. And the awesome stuff that you've been doing. Like I mentioned earlier, like I bought Fight Frogs from you, and I actually love that. But your main thing right now is I Live in Your Walls. So for everyone listening, what is I Live in Your Walls?
So it's a horror comic that's sort of an anthology, but it's got like not quite a Crypt Keeper character, but like somebody like this little creepy guy who shows up at people's houses when he knows that somebody's going to die. He tells the story of like how that person dies. And so like they're all very different stories. The first 2 I came out with, one is more so just kind of setting up the world and everything. It's about this like husband and wife who he shows up at the house and he's guessing who's gonna like die, what's gonna happen, that kind of stuff. And I'm not gonna spoil like what happens at the end of that one, but it gets really gruesome and disgusting really, really fast. And then the second one is about like this kind of guy who he shows up at his house and his kind of dingy apartment, and the guy's like a bit of a screw up, and he kind of falls on the wrong side of these like gangsters. And then it's like a whole like revenge story. So Tales from the Crypt-ish, but the little guy is active in the story. It's not just like he introduces it and then lets it go. Like he's hanging out, watching things. He lives in like holes in the walls, or he lives in like a flower pot in the second one. He lives in a boot in the third one I'm working on. He tells you the story of how this happened. While he sits in the dead body and eats maggots and plays around in the blood.
I'm looking at the preview right now. It's something.
It's
something. It looks real wicked, man.
Thank you. It's very like I said, like kind of EC Comics, very horror manga influenced as well. Like I said, I'm a huge horror manga fan. This whole arm is nothing but like horror manga tattoos and stuff. So like I love that stuff. But it's very influenced by like Hideshi Hino in particular. I'm not sure if you know who he is, but he's another one of those guys. His stuff was released in the US. I have everything that he's ever come out with in English. and then it stopped for a long time, and then Starfruit Books was putting it out, and then unfortunately the guy that ran Starfruit, he passed away, so it's very unlikely that the other stuff that they had on deck is going to be like released. But I love Hideshi Hino's stuff. It's a huge influence on the comic and everything. And yeah, it's been fun just kind of telling whatever story I want to tell. Like, I'm not beholden to just tell like only zombie stories or only like monster stories. The first one is kind of body horror-ish. The second one's a little bit more kind of like Living Dead. This third one I'm working on is way more sort of like supernatural, kind of like Salem witch trials ish. It's going to be called I Live in Your Walls, Guts of the Witch Killer. And so it's going to be, again, like supernatural, a little bit more kind of like witchy, sort of like turn of the century kind of colonial witch stuff. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
It's cool that you've hit on this, idea where you can have this kind of thorough line between all the books with this character, but also just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, also amazing artist, Kelly Williams, for a while he had his own series called The Dark that he would put out from time to time, his own little horror anthology. And I just am so drawn and excited that those things happen in comics, and they're so easy to get now because growing up, sure, some of the stuff like this might be out there, but like unless you knew where to find it, you're gonna find it,
Right.
I'm not like a real subversive media type person or anything like that, but I also grew up in the 80s with unrestricted access to cable TV. So I do my little Venn diagram of horror in my head has a lot of gore, has a lot of splatter, and stuff like that. So I am always for like a little guy in a gory story.
Yeah. It's like I like this series is very gratuitous, I would say. Like it's something where it's all the violence in it is like not really hinted at or anything. And I think like the way that I wanted to kind of like do it is I want it to be like equal parts sort of like disturbing or unsettling or kind of like creepy or eerie, but also like cute and funny. It's like a weird combo there, because the main character, the ill omen, this little guy, he's like kind of cute. Like like people see it and they're like, I love this guy, but he's disgusting. He's covered in pimples and his hair's falling out, and he's got one big eye and one small eye because he hasn't like the small eye. This is nothing I've like really told anybody or even I'm going to hint at. He's supposed to have two big eyes, but he constantly has an eye infection from just like touching it with dirty fingers.
That's great.
And so like he's gross, but he's also cute, and like there's a lot of like funny moments. There's something in the second one very, very disturbing happens. There's this like extremely violent scene, and then I follow that up with the ill omen letting out a big funny burp. It's like this just like guy dying and like sort of like his last memories and stuff, and then the ill omen lets out a loud belch and then sort of just like throws a half-eaten maggot on the ground and is like, what are you gonna do?
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. And as someone who, I never expected myself to be drawing so much of horror stuff as I do draw. I've had those like ideas or thoughts like, oh man, it would be nice just to do like this like fucked up story, super gross or whatever. My own problem is like whenever I start going down that rabbit hole, I start like adding weight, like my sappiness gets in there, and it's just like it becomes just too, instead of it just becoming this like ridiculous gore fest, it just becomes depressing. Okay, we're not going to do that.
Well, there are times
okay.
No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, so I appreciate you can straddle that line a lot
Yeah.
a lot better.
Well, there were times in that second issue where I was basically when I'm trying not to spoil too much, but like somebody dies a very violent death, and it's not really all that deserved. And as I was drawing it, I was just like, "Fuck, dude, this is bumming me out."
Oh man.
But I was like, I gotta power through. Like, and it's some of my I think some of the best drawing I've done in a comic. But yeah, I was just getting so down in the dumps because it's so prolonged, and guys getting tortured and stuff, and it's just I was just like, oh my god, every single time I started a new page. This one I'm doing right now is a little bit more like cartoonish, I would say, in terms of the violence, and there's not really anybody too simple. Well, there's some sympathetic characters in it, but there's a lot of just sort of like, I don't know, bad people who are bad for different reasons in it. So
yeah.
When they get chopped up, I don't give a shit.
Your brain's probably like self-preservation mode a little bit. Like, let's make some people that aren't.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
let's get some deserved.
Yeah,
intensity.
Yeah, right.
So I take it you work traditionally, primarily.
Yeah.
Not that you can always tell, but like just looking at there, I'm like, this definitely to me feels like these are some marks on paper for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
There's is there when you're laying out your stories and you're writing your stories, do you like kind of script it out first, or do you kind of write the story through thumbnails and sketches?
I write through thumbnails. That's been the easiest way for me to do it. I've tried writing scripts, and I find that just kind of bogs my process down, and I can't visualize it as easily. And so for me, I'm very visual when it comes to almost everything that I do. And so just sitting down, drawing, taking a page in my notebook, turning that into 4 little pages, drawing little panels with like notes saying this is what the dialogue's going to be. That's the way that I go about it. They're illegible, I would say, to almost anybody else, because I'm just like doing little crappy drawings and stuff. But that's how I've always done it. That way too, part of my ethos when it comes to writing a comic is I like to have like each page sort of begin and end in a satisfying way. Like for me, this is just my own writing thing. When I have to like take a part of a comic or a part of like a story and it stretches only to 1.5 pages, right? I feel uneasy about that. I like to have a page be sort of like a break in the way that like something resolves or like something like that. And so if I have to like take a thread, bring it to a half page, and then start something new on that bottom half of that page, I just feel oogie doing it. So I'm definitely like a page by page, we're focusing on just horror for like these like handful of pages, and then there will be like a comedic break, and maybe that'll go for like another page, or that'll be the one panel that then breaks it up so that the next part of the story can like happen. And so with this, it's the Ill Omen, the character, has been good for allowing me to sort of like break my stories up in that way that I like to sort of like tell, because it's a lot of flashbacks and stuff. And then when he comes back in the present day to like tell the story, that's when I can use that as sort of like the next section of like the story beginning or something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I am always a fan of like, storytelling first. Almost to a fault, where I feel like for myself personally, like I need to shake things up panel layout wise or like kind of dynamically, because I am all about like making sure like, even if it comes to things like open panel borders, at the end of a thing, or like open panel borders at the top of the page, if you're establishing something, like just kind of those little tiny things, like the fundamentals, so to speak, that you kind of try to ingrain to yourself and all that. And when it comes to comics of like the nature of I Live in Your Walls, I don't think it's something that people really think about in terms of like, oh, was he thinking about the storytelling, like, or because it's like, no, you're not just drawing gross, cool, funny sad shit just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
And that there's an intense thought going behind this, and that's
Yeah.
why it works so well. Not
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it looks cool. Well, yes, it looks cool, but
Yeah,
it looks
right.
it looks cool and hits you because of how it's being told, and that's such a crucial thing.
Yeah, I 100%. That's what I'm going for. And I like a lot of like stuff. I'm a big subversive media guy. I love anything that's like weird and uncomfortable and everything. But a lot of what I feel like kind of permeates in this type of stuff, the more kind of like over the top, like violent and sort of like stuff that's meant to make you squirm, is that's all that's being focused on, like the creative way that someone gets killed, or like like the violence in the art, which I love that stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. But I feel like sometimes storytelling takes a little bit of a backseat to that, or it's just like the gimmick is just the violence. And I like to have both. I like to make it like I like to make you like laugh and like kind of, I don't know, like squirm at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, to make a kind of a comparison a little bit, it's kind of like I'd say Peter Jackson's early stuff.
100%.
Where it's like, because I remember the first time we saw Dead Alive, and that we were waiting in line for an ungodly amount of time for a terrible haunted house many years ago, like 20 years ago, I think, and it was just playing on these screens, and I didn't know what it was. Like, I knew Peter Jackson had done like weirdo movies before Lord of the Rings and Frighteners and all that, but like I didn't know what they were. And then we were watching, I was just enraptured with it, because one, it's a fucking insane movie. But also, like, you could tell what he was doing. He's trying to tell a story. He's trying to like get you to feel something. So so when you get that resolution at the end, it's like, it's triumphant, and also like a relief from all the intense things that are happening. And so it feels very much like that, as opposed to something I'm blanking on something compared to, but I know there's a million things I could probably think of after the fact, of this like just balls to the wall, nasty, like Eli Roth shit or whatever, like just. And I know I'm not saying he's not good at what he does or whatever, but there's definitely like this seems like things are just more like there because they are terrible. Not because. And I know I'm naming very mainstream-esque creators in the sub, that aren't probably considered true subversives type of stuff, but it's just like that idea of like the act of what's happening trumping the story, as opposed to the story making the act of what's happening all the more intense.
I agree with that 100%.
And all that. So when your style is very, I love your kind of art style, because it has that gritty feeling, but it's also got the there's not like a lot of like straight hard lines aside from the hatching and all that. So like the body shapes are very I don't want to say lumpy, because that sounds like it's so, but
I'll take lumpy.
it's everyone kind of feels like a meat sack. And I'm saying this as like as a positive in my brain, because because it's very cool, because as we see, we are essentially just sacks of meat. So was there in coming to like how you draw now, was this kind of like a direction your art has always taken, or is this something that's just kind of as like had a turn at some point?
I would say that it's a direction that my art has kind of always taken. I've always been into sort of like gross out stuff. I loved when I was a kid, like Mad Balls, Garbage Pail Kids. Like I was a real chew my food up and then stick my tongue out to show my friends or my brother or my sister kind of kid. Like I was just gross. I thought farts and like burps and boogers were funny. I mean, I still do, but like I was definitely that kind of like I was born in '86. So I grew up through like the tail end of the 80s gross stuff into the sort of like 90s gross stuff and everything like that. And so that's just something I've always been into. And then like getting into, from there, punk music, metal, like all that kind of stuff, very part and parcel with the sort of like aesthetic there. I used to, like, my start was doing like album art and like flyers and t-shirts for bands and everything. And so it all kind of like developed, I would say, pretty organically. Like I'm somebody who, I think I wear my influences on my sleeve, but I like to kind of take them and turn them into something else as well. I'll also say this as well. I mean, I'm a college teacher. I teach, illustration at, a few different universities right now. So like this, a lot of it is informed by the like weirdo, gross, just like lowbrow stuff that I like. But I also like, I have a real love for composition and, shape language and color palettes and all this other kind of stuff. So like I try to inform as much of the dumb stuff that I do with like just a crumb of smartness.
It's all about balance. It's all about balance in life.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
For every death metal album, there's a little something on the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah, 90s dance music or yacht rock. Those are my other two, just sort of like, there you go, all in genres that I like.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned a couple times you teach illustration in a few colleges. I'm curious to know, like, has there been much reception from your students about your comic work?
Or I don't often show my work on like the first day, but sometimes I do. They seem to dig it. I do show my work frequently. So I teach a visual development class right now, and really focused on like pitching comics and pitching cartoons and stuff in that class. And so I've worked on 1 million cartoon pitches. And so I'll show them that, and they all seem to really dig it, a lot. I mean, like I think already I stand out as a teacher because I'm a giant tattooed freak man.
Yeah. I mean, visually, you're an imposing figure, and then you're like, "Hey, come look at my sick, awesome comics, guys."
Yeah. I've seen a lot of students at like comic shows and like that kind of stuff, and they respond well to it. I also would say too, for the most part, at most of the universities that I teach at, nobody really does too much stuff like what I do. And so I think I bring something that's like different to the table in terms of just like the stuff that I know about and the sort of like references that I can sort of like point students in, their direction and everything. While at the same time, knowing plenty about just like the golden age of illustration and how to compose an image and like, editorial illustration. I used to do editorial stuff. I used to be an illustrator for Business Week and LA Weekly and like that kind of stuff, like back in the day. But even that stuff I was doing was gross. Like anytime Business Week needed a CEO or like a guy in a business suit snapping his keyboard in half with veins bulging out of his head, they would hit me up.
We got a guy for this.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That's awesome. So a question I don't really ask very often to fellow artists is just because, I think I still have a reaction to like people like considering it like a dumb question to ask, but I'm done with that because I'm just curious and I want to know, like, what are your tools? Like what are your favorite pens?
Yeah.
Paper, pencils, like,
yeah,
because some people are very precious about that stuff. Some people are very protective about that stuff, and some people are like I don't know, whatever that's on my table, I just grab it.
I'm more of that. Yeah. I hold on, I got a pad right here. I use Strathmore Bristol for my paper. I also use like Strathmore drawing paper, just like the straight up, just normal drawing paper for my pencils and stuff. So it's pencils on drawing paper, light boxed onto Bristol, using is it Faber-Castell brush pens for my like more chunky lines, and then I use ballpoint pens, but like nicer than just like a normal Bic. These Uniball Vision Elite. That's what I generally tend to use, but I switch it up like kind of frequently, to be honest. That's just where I'm at right now. I might get tired of brush markers in a week, and then start inking everything with a brush and Sumi ink, which is what I used to do before. But I feel like I've been doing this for so long. This is the most efficient way for me to kind of like make work that I really, really like a lot, no having to take a second to dip my brush into ink to ink one line, and it's a long line, and then all of a sudden I run out of ink and I got to go back and then finish the line, and then I notice that I don't know, it's a millimeter thicker in the middle there, and I don't like it, and that's all I could see. Like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's the upside for me, I would say.
Traditionally speaking, I absolutely love nibs. But I can like it again. It's the same thing. You end up reworking, and also I'm very heavy-handed.
Yeah, me too.
So I have broken so many nib tips. Like just unintentionally. And not because not that I feel like I'm even pressing that hard, just because they're thin little things or whatever. But like, it's rough, and since I've made the switch to like primary digital, also because it's an efficiency thing for myself as well, there is that sense of like relief of like, okay, I can just redo this line real quick or whatever. But for a while, I actually put myself through the paces of like, I'm not going to just click, I'm just not going to hit undo. I'm going to go back and I'm going to erase it, and I'm going to go redo it. Right? And I think that helped me out a lot with that. But like traditionally, like I still have my tools here for traditional stuff. And I think the biggest hurdle for me is just like when I have to put like whiteout or correction stuff on there to fix something, and then I have to wait. And
I got you.
Like, and usually if it's like usually if I'm doing traditional stuff, it's just for like sketches, commissions that people are going to be taking. So I'm like, I want those to be as pristine as possible. I have had a few people who were like, who had told me like, hey man, I love seeing the process. So like if there's still like pencil marks, if there's like a correction fluid or like you have to do a paste up somewhere, like I'm all for it. Don't feel like you have to be precious about it. And those are the people where I'm like, I get you. You are my people. That stuff too. But it's also like, for me, I'm like, you're paying me good money for this. I want to make sure it's something that doesn't look like I was like fucking up.
But
there's people who get it, who are like, no, it's just part of the process.
That stuff happens. I mean, I'm very much like that. It's very rare that I restart anything, or it's very rare that I don't, if I screw something up, like it's usually not a big thing, and I might just erase it digitally as opposed to like on the page with like whiteout or something like that. But the way that I work, if I screw up, it's part of the piece now. I'll figure out a way to I've been doing inking demos with students in the room, and I'm a big time, I stick shit in my mouth, I put pen in my mouth and I'm drawing like this. I've drooled on the page in front of students. I've inked got ink on the brush and then fumbled the brush and just dropped it on the thing that I'm inking in front of all of them. And I'm like, well, that guy's a pimple on his head now, and I'll just draw like a circle around it or something like that. Like, I have a style that I think lends itself to just being a little bit more kind of fast and loose with things. And so like, I think that's part of the charm of it. Like I said earlier, like, I like DIY in everything. Like I like, punk music. I like guys who just get together and then they just rip out some like dumb guy, just like stupid, gross sounding death metal. And that's very much the ethos that I carry into like a lot of the stuff that I do as well.
That's awesome. I think the first time I ever like stopped and said, you know what, I'm tearing this up and I'm restarting, was like the scariest moment of my life for like a commission, because at the time, I had never done that. Like I always just like muscled through it and got it done. But like when I did that, I realized like, oh, it's not that big of a fucking deal.
Yeah.
Because I got back to where I was pretty fast because I already knew what I was trying.
Right.
I'm good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is that. So if anyone's listening who's like being a little precious about something, like I can't restart this, like it's just do it. You'll never. I have never been disappointed with restarting a panel, a page, a sketch, a commission when I felt like, no, this is not working. This is not, what it needs to be.
Yeah. I mean, I recently did that in the second I Live in Your Walls. I couldn't even tell you, aside from that time, if I've ever like thrown out a page or sort of just been like, all right, I'm restarting this. Luckily I wasn't like super far into it, but like I was trying a technique on like just inking the way that cloth was folding that I had seen in actually it was probably this book right here, Mansack. And there was just like an interesting way, like I'm sure you can even see too on the cover, there's like interesting sort of like marks, the way that like hatch marks and denoting that sort of like form and space and everything. And I was like, I'm gonna try something like that, and boy, did I botch it. It just looked bad. Like the guy looked like his shirt was just covered in tiger stripes, and I was like, oh man. So I bailed on it. And there were some perspective things that I just realized weren't working too. And I fixed it, and I was like, best decision. Like I just felt so much happier with it. So yeah.
So one last question about your work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With your deep love of manga and all that, have you tried like putting down like the actual screen tones or like even digital screen tones as opposed to hatching over your work? Because I think apologies if you've done it and I haven't seen it in any of the previews or anything.
I've not.
I think that would be a really cool look.
Yeah.
On that, like just something like that. Like that.
Yeah,
combo.
I've thought about it. I've not taken it upon myself to figure out like just how to work with it or anything. But it's something that like it's the thought is creeping into my mind more and more as I go on, I would say, for sure.
Because I'm looking at this stuff and I'm hearing you talk about your love of that medium or that genre and that art style and all that, and I'm like, just the strict like uniformity, neatness of screen tones over what you do. I'm like, that would just be gnarly as fuck, man. I think would I know how to would I know what approach you have to take to do it? No. I'm with you there where you're like, I have to figure out what this is. But I think about that whenever I mess with screen tones. Like, how am I doing this? I don't know. Let's just figure this out. So but no, I think I'm glad you're thinking about it, because I think that would be like that would be like this extra, just not only like a bridge between yourself and your influences, but like it would, I don't know. It's my brain. I'm just like, it just feels like it's going to be the chocolate to the peanut butter.
I can see that for sure.
Or it could be terrible, and you could and then you can just blame me.
I'll curse your name forever. If it looks really good, if it looks really good, but then it adds like 30 hours per page, I'll just be like, Don.
that would be on brand for me. Yes. Yes, it looks better, but yes, it also takes 4 times as long now. That is me for sure. Well, Jimmy, I could talk to you forever. You're an awesome dude, awesome artist.
Thank you.
Glad we had a chance to have this chat.
Yeah, this was great.
It is getting a little long in the nights. I know you got stuff you got to do. I got stuff I got to do. Like, look at the back of my eyelids, and you're probably just beginning for yourself with some. I don't know. I stopped being a late night owl once the kids came, so now I got to be a morning person.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what happens.
But no, I'm so glad we had this chat, and for anyone listening, hopefully if everything goes smoothly, you'll see, if you're at C2E2 in Chicago, you'll have a chance to see me and Jimmy and a bunch of other fine folks like Tyrell Cannon and Mark Bouchard and Marcus Nasso and Kelly Williams, hopefully at the Comics and Metal panel that I'll be hosting on the Friday night of C2E2 at 7:00 p.m.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Make sure that's all over the socials and all that, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna do my damnedest to make sure it's a fun time for everybody and all that. But until then, you can go check out all the links in the show notes where you can find Jimmy's work. You can go pick up I Live in Your Walls 1, 2, and 3, and all other cool stuff he has on his site. And check out Bicep. The 2 tracks will be out at this point. EP hopefully sometime this year. And yeah, so if there's anything else I missed, Jimmy, please let me know.
I think you got it all.
You got covered. Awesome.
Yeah.
I just totally steamrolled over you pitching yourself.
Hey, that was fun. I've been talking all day. I taught class and then came here, so I appreciate the help there.
And I usually have everyone say like, "Oh, let everybody know where they can find you on social media," but like that seems redundant. Just look in the show notes, guys, and all the platforms this is on. It's going to be links right there. Just go click it and go there.
I go by Jimmy G on everything too because my last name's a Punisher to spell. So like, I'm easy to find.
I've gotten pretty good at just spelling it all right off the bat, though. I think I've had to type it enough times.
Right on.
Where I just got it down now. I still have to double check because I've already like screwed up other names a few times in a row.
Gotcha.
This year. But yes. So before I keep rambling on, Jimmy, thank you so much for coming on. Everyone, please go check out everything. Jimmy G Illustration, or I believe the website was jgillustration.com. Again, links in all the show notes for all the cool, fun stuff, social medias, all that jazz. Hope we see you at C2E2, and thank you again.
Thanks for having me. This was great.